He's still here. Bottom right side of side delta. The French Brothers. It is Le PtitDrogo.
A little pharmacist. And in the upper left, in the blue. Again, one of these young momentum Terrans. Really powerful in this matchup. For Berserker Esports, it's BattleB.
It's going to be an eBay block by the looks of it. The way that he was hiding that SCV, wanted to make sure that his SCV was not revealed by the scouting probe of Drogo. Drogo is not going to see this ultra early, and that makes it annoying immediately. Think we're going to build a Zealot and pull like 6 probes, or is he actually going to do something that sometimes pros players do, and that is just ignore it altogether and expand elsewhere? But on this map is somewhat small compared to some of these other maps. I'd be pretty scared to just take my expand elsewhere. Drogo, however, is not scared, and he is going to do that. It's not going to be easy, man, to keep all your probes safe when you have a main and your triangle to worry about.
BattleB almost blocked that Nexus. It just a little bit faster on the turn, and he actually almost got that SCV on location. So, I mean, that would have been disastrous for Drogo at that point. But you're absolutely right, Roddy. And there we go. That's how one way you punish it. You drop a bunker. Although, RNG on this SCV, not great just yet. It takes 2 or 3 shots, but now it's working out pretty nicely. Wedging your way into that corner. I mean, that's just so hard to deal with. But now it's got to find a probe. That being said, Reaper's here. Oh, a little bit mishandled there. Now this bunker's not going to go up. The Reaper gets a probe, but not nearly as problematic as it might otherwise have been.
No, but it's still very annoying when you only have 1 unit, because if you now send this unit to your triangle, the Reaper can hop into the main base, and BattleB was already thinking about it. He's like, I still haven't seen it yet. Now he sees where that Stalker is. Obviously, indeed, lovely for Drogo that he doesn't have to worry about a completed bunker, but that doesn't mean that he's out of the woods yet, and you don't have to worry about the first factory units that are going to come out. And I don't know what direction BattleB wants to take this. Honestly, I'd be worried about, and I can even go down the laundry list of potential Terran follow-ups that are scary here for Drogo. Basically, you can think of anything, BO, and it's scary to deal with.
200 SCV max pull.
Terrifying.
Really?
No.
But no, you're right. A lot, pretty much anything at this point. There is so much room for BattleB to play on the map. Wedge his way between the natural and, well, I guess technically this is the natural, but between the natural base location and then that third base with the high ground, low ground, high ground situation. It's just so far apart. But yeah, for now, we're just going to have to see. Widowmine's on the way, though, so probably Widowmine drops here, Roddy. Now this is the question. Is this 2 Widowmines? Is this 3? Is this 4? How hard does BattleB commit?
Yeah, and are we going to build an armory or not? All of it, you know, is still a question. The thing is with Drogo, he went for the Robo as a follow-up. Maybe he was worried about some Cyclones or a very early Marine tank. This Reaper somehow got not 1 but 2 probes. It's now going to be annoying. He's going to get a few more shots off. A perfect scout for BattleB. And this is also going to give him a lot of confidence in his medevac movement. Because you know now that the Stalkers will not have Blink till forever. And defending your main and your triangle when you don't have Phoenix or you don't have Blink Stalkers, any sort of a Widowmine drop, no matter how many Widowmines it is going to be one of the many things that was scary that BattleB could have gone for.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the very least, you know, the Reaper's dead, so you don't have to worry about that quite as much. But 3 Widowmines onto the other side here, Roddy. This is going to get scouted at the very least from Drogo. He's gonna see what's happening, and Stalkers are in such a beautiful position to Widowmines get out, but they're just gonna die here. The clusters, he does get it.
Thank the Lord that we had the Observer there, because I think there was a brief moment where that Widowmine would have been cloaked and then it would have fired. That is honestly kind of sloppy on the side of BattleB. That's just not supposed to happen. He had the scout. He knew he didn't have to worry about Blink Stalkers, but it doesn't mean you don't have to worry about anything at all. You cannot just fly in full vision for the Protoss, let them wail away not once but twice on your medevac, and then even lose the medevac that early. That's a massive missed opportunity. And yeah, now for all the things that I was very concerned about on the side of Drogo, suddenly Drogo is probably feeling like, ha, this game is going really good. I just killed 2 Widowmines and a medevac and I lost absolutely nothing, which should never ever ever happen if you open up 1 gate fast expanded Robo, but somehow Drogo got away with it.
Yeah, I mean, he did lose a couple probes to the Reaper, Roddy. That's some mitigating damage, I guess. 3 total kills, and although 1 was the probe that took the 3rd, doesn't matter as much. But yeah, I mean, he's in a great spot. Immortals on the way, adding in the Colossus behind this, extend thermal lance, +1. Doesn't have Blink, though. No Twilight. Well, there is a Twilight, but nothing's researching on it just yet. So that's kind of the one thing that we're looking at as something that Drogo would like to have, especially as we have the situation where he's up in front. So drops between the Terran into the third base, into the main without Blink Stalkers. That could be pretty rough to deal with.
Yeah, but that's what we thought about the Widowmine drop as well. And then Drogo had the cleanest defense imaginable, other than the 2 seconds that his probes were not mining. I mean, BattleB will really be kicking himself for the way that he mishandled the last 2 minutes. Like, well, you cannot always get the dream connections on your Widowmine shots, but at the bare minimum, that was supposed to linger on for a little while. That was supposed to find some damage, a couple of probes, keep Drogo busy, and that would make your follow-up attack a lot more terrifying. Because imagine if there is still a medevac with 2 Widowmines behind the main base of Drogo right now. And that's really not a crazy thing to imagine with the way that Drogo opened up. But instead, maybe BattleB can just stim in here from an awkward angle and get a couple of probes. Drogo does have a Colossus. I like the angle that BattleB has chosen this time around, because that shield battery BO is so far towards the top right side that it's not really going to come into play here.
No, it really won't. And now adding in more Marauders, more Medevacs, more Marines onto this push. He elucidates a Phoenix, just trying to bait the shot, doesn't get it. So the Widowmines, they're still there. They're still preventing connection. And again, we don't have Blink. We don't have +1, we don't have charge. This is what we were worried about talking about this opening. You don't have mobility on this army, so the drop into the main base, that's a problem. Drogo has to run over. Luckily, a Colossus pops in time, so this is not going to be quite as bad as it could have been. But BattleB now, do you run up the ramp? There's nothing here.
Very, very fortunate timing for that Colossus to pop. Otherwise, indeed, that double drop was a problem. 4 or 5 Stalkers, even with a shield battery, I don't think would have been enough there. There are 2 more Widowmines that have been revealed by a scouting probe that are now making their way over towards base number 4. Drogo, you had a bunch of observers now, but they have died. I guess the Raven has revealed them. And this is a problem now because there are multiple Widowmines scattered across these 3 bases. And Drogo does not have a single ops.
I mean, look at this positioning from BattleB already. He's got a drop on the north side that canceled the 4th. He's got this pressure on the left side that just got 11 workers. He's got a drop behind the mineral line with the Raven. He's just everywhere. And yeah, if you're on 3 bases as the Protoss, that's reasonable to hold on to. But as you try to get that 4th base and build an economy that can contest what BattleB's doing, there are just more spots to attack into. This is getting so hard for Drogo to respond to. Nice blink, though. Does at least get the Widowmine.
Yeah, gets one Widowmine. There's still a bunch of other Widowmines to worry about. Seems that BattleB forgot about one Widowmine that's not burrowed here, and that Marauder that has just been enjoying the beautiful view over that lake for a little while. That Marauder could have been in trouble, but reinforcements have arrived. Drogo's army here at first, not very impressive, but should have a whole lot more. He's doing his absolute best, drops a couple of nice force fields, shaves off a few more units, still has to worry a tiny bit about that double drop that's behind his main, and that's why he has left a lot of units inside of the main base to keep that main safe. Meanwhile, BattleB will probably look at this and be like, okay, I did what I could. I found some damage. I denied base number 4 going up. Maybe now I should chill a little bit and just get a few more Vikings to deal with these Colossus and obviously make that transition into Ghost.
Yeah, losing that tank as well really kind of minimizes anything that he's going to be able to do.
Natural. The doors are open in the natural. Ambitious warp in there in the middle of these Marauders. Now, it's only Marauders, so they're not going to kill a whole bunch of probes immediately. They could go for the Forge, and that +1 is pretty far along, but they do not get the Forge. Drogo blinks forward, snipes the medevac too. Honestly, Drogo is doing damn good. I don't love his position. I definitely think that he is losing the game at the moment, but I am still impressed with how well he's done. Even though after that Widowmine drop, I guess we always knew that he was going to be okay, but it looked for a split second like everything was falling apart. And I think he has kind of survived the scariest phase of that contain.
Yeah, I think, well, it's no longer a contain anymore, so I would agree, Roddy. That being said, there are a lot of Vikings on the map. It's double Starport Viking coming out of BattleB right now. I mean, that being said, it's only 6 Vikings. I retract that statement. It's 6 Vikings versus 4 Colossus. That's not a heavy enough Viking count to be really where you want to be, but if you can take high ground position like this and kill one off quickly, then I suppose it's fine. EMPs, though, they don't really land. Stalkers blink on top, get 1 Colossus down, or 1 Viking. Colossus falls as well. And Drogo, now he's on 3 Colossus. The Viking count is okay, and in fact, it just, now it's big, Roddy. We're looking at 7 here, 3, 4 more on the way. we're getting to the point where it almost feels like you want to see Drogo transition out of this, go on to Disruptors maybe, go on to more heavy ground toss, because his Colossus tech is pretty countered.
Yeah, I mean, he was thinking of some Archons, but there are a bunch of Ghosts right now, so you don't want to make too many of them. Does swap into my Templars. EMP is pretty good. Nice pickup. Oh my goodness, he saves all of them at first. Come on, Stalkers, blink forward. You need to do your job and protect these Giraffes. So far, Drogo doing a really good job there. Has a bunch of money, has good upgrades, so maybe you can wipe in a bunch of Zealots on that right side base, right? Imagine if you had 10 Zealots right now flanking. Drogo is going to go for that warp, and it's a little bit late, but he's still done a really good job and has killed every single Viking. I mean, BattleB started a fight there that looked promising, but Drogo did a 10 out of 10 job in picking up those Colossus, running back to the battery. Really impressive stuff. Still had units in his main base as well, so double medevac Raven has now turned into a single medevac with no HP and only 2 units inside of it. And Drogo is up 30 supply. Earlier, I wasn't loving his spot, BO, and now I think everyone is loving his spot.
This is fantastic. And by the way, shout out to the time when feedbacks would just kill medevacs regardless. Drogo gets to relive those glory days, feedbacks down the medevac and knocks that. So, hey, no more pressure on the map for BattleB right now, and Drogo immediately, 5th base, done. Took a while for him to get the 4th, but now he's starting to expand. He's got 3-2 on the way. He's got all the upgrades, all the tech, adding Colossus back in. And the question becomes not how does he survive, Roddy? The question becomes, how does he move across the map? When does he move across the map? How does he punish this game that BattleB is trying to play?
Yeah, I would love to see him kind of do it right now. And we are pretty Zealot heavy, but obviously not all Zealots need to be part of the main army. You can have a couple Zealots sneak in from a weird angle. Kind of think if you have this much of an upgrade lead, if you won the fight so decisively on your side of the map, what is stopping you now, Drogo? Like, if you're getting close to... I would love to see him just max out and go, and we are pretty much maxing out. Because if you wait a little while longer, you can absolutely lose the fight against 2-2 Terran and a whole bunch of Vikings that have been remade. I mean, he is going to go for it. BattleB looks at his army and somehow says, I'm going to stim forward. I think that's a little bit overly ambitious, but maybe he sees something that I don't see.
Yeah, that I don't know, man. Vikings run forward, Stalkers blink on top of them, but I don't kill a Viking just yet. It's a 3 upgrade lead until right now, and now it's only 1. Even still, Zealots get on top. Archons kill all the Vikings, and again, 3 Colossus are going to survive, Roddy, and now it gets even scarier. This 3rd base, I'm not sure how BattleB's supposed to hold on to it at this point. There's not enough Vikings. The ghost count isn't particularly high. Looking for the feedback there. Drogo, though, he gets EMP'd instead, but there's nothing to kill the Vikings. There's, well, nothing to kill the Colossus. The 1 Viking, it's doing what it can. BattleB, he doesn't get his momentum working, and Drogo heals on well enough. Roddy, that was an impressive game.
Really well done by Drogo, especially that pickup micro on the Colossus, running back to the battery. I think that was the beginning of the real comeback. Earlier, it didn't look all that bad, but then BattleB definitely started to gain some momentum. But Drogo did such a good job there. What could have been a disastrous fight turned into a very good fight for him. I do think that BattleB had a questionable moment or two. There was a single moment where all the Vikings fired at an observer after he already killed 1 Colossus. Where, man, that damage adds up on Colossus. That obviously would have helped. But even towards the end, like, he was in trouble. He lost that previous fight decisively. Very little things went his way. Then you would think, just stand back. And if you want to fake a little bit of aggression, that's fine. But stimming forward when you have 155 supply, when you're seconds away from 2-2 upgrades, while you have to rebuild all your Vikings, is like, why are you chasing him? And I feel like Drogo knew exactly what was happening, where he's like, okay, I'm getting ready to attack. If you want to stim, go ahead and come to me. A, you damage your entire army, and B, I will turn around. So you have to stim again, and I already have a better army. Like, BattleB making a wrong call or two there, and we have to go back to that Widowmine drop as well. Like, on this level, that cannot happen. Like, against 1 gate fast expand Robo, to just find nothing with your medevac and 2 Widowmines this early on, when your opponent has to defend the triangle and the main, BattleB has to do better, and he will know that he needs to do a whole lot.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things. I think I characterize BattleB, these players like BattleB and Milky Cow, kind of in the same way I think about Hero, where they're very good, certainly, and Hero is a level above BattleB or Milky Cow. That's above reproach. But they're these players that they're kind of infected with this sickness, and that sickness is, I gotta attack, I gotta attack, I gotta attack. I'm gonna be as aggressive as possible. I'm gonna win or lose this game by my aggression. And that means that when they're in these situations where they want to go and actually they should play defensively a little bit, sometimes they can fall into that trap of, well, you know what? There's a shot here. I can win this fight. Then look, it's going to be so good. And then you lose the game off of that one. So BattleB, let's see if he can constrain those aggressive urges as we now move in to game 2.
Drogo did have a very fortunate moment in that game as well, by the way, with that Colossus popping in the main base.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, that double drop would have been very gnarly to deal with.
That it would have been. So let's see if he can find more miracles, because up 1 in the red, the upper right-hand side, it's Drogo.
The Warp Prism micro and the Oracle micro from that man, it just kind of seems to be timeless. Even if we don't see him a whole lot and we know that he plays a lot less, those are just things, a skill that he has acquired a long time ago and just doesn't seem to fade at all. In the bottom left side, representing StarCraft Esports, the second best Terran from Germany, it's BattleB.
What was it? I think it was one of our PvPs earlier on in the... one of our PvPs, like early on in the Asian region, where we had a Stalker pop at just at the right time to... No, it was a PvT, I think. Anyway, that popped at the right time, and I think you get a Reaper. So, Drogo is just channeling that skill. You time it out perfectly. So things just pop out when they need to, and they defend you without even having to do anything. It's a special skill, Roddy, and I'm glad that Drogo has it today.
Mm-hmm. I also think there were maybe 1 or 2 moments where BattleB had a lot of supply everywhere. Well, I think if he would have grabbed everything together, and instead of attacking with the 6 or 7 Vikings, he always had way more on the production tab. It's like, why don't you just wait and start a fight with 10? Because the Colossus are legitimately the only real damage dealers in that part of the game for the Protoss. So if you can just show up with a crazy amount of Vikings, then it's almost impossible to lose the fight, because the Vikings will always kill the Colossus. But if you attack right before that critical number, and then you have a couple of supplies tied up behind the main base, you have a few more supply on the right side, it's just like all these little things add up, and what could be a convincing win for the Terran then turns into a convincing win for the Protoss. Well, you don't always have to drop, you don't always have to split up your army. Sometimes you can just rely on the strength of your army and keep everything in the same place.
Yeah, especially with how vocal I think a lot of Protoss players have been about how rough it is to play late game PvT with the disruptor nerf, with everything happening. Yeah, ghosts are not as strong as they were, but that was a nerf that they took, right? Going down back to the pre-EMP or the whatever the upgrade was called, I forget. The
enhanced shockwaves.
Thank you. Pre-enhanced shockwaves range or radius. That was a mid-game buff, because in the late game they're always still a little bit small anyways, compared to what enhanced shockwaves gave you. So, like, the big nerf that Terran got was more of a kind of a mid to early late game, late mid game type of thing. And well, disruptors, they're bad. They're now just a little bit worse at all stages. But more importantly, when you're maxed out, you can just have less of them. Or if you want to have the same amount, you have to have less of your army or less of your economy. So a lot of Protoss players are talking about how the late game, if anything, it's gotten harder against Terrans. And this is a problem.
Yep, this is definitely could be a problem. I think the Reaper should go for that low HP. Beautiful lock on there from downtown. Stalker turns around there and gets the kill. It was a problem, still a tiny bit of a problem, because 2 Stalkers are way more expensive than a Cyclone. But most importantly for Drogo is that he has killed that Cyclone, and then the Reapers alone by themselves are nothing.
I mean, they 3-shot probes, you know. If you can find a spot without a shield battery, they can find some value. But Stalkers warp in, Reapers, they're not going to find anything there. And now Drogo, you're right, he's pretty safe. Adept on the high ground, Stalkers out in front. It's going to be really hard for these Reapers to find anything.
Drogo is going to go up to 3 bases. The 2-gate Twilight with a Robo follow-up expand. The will that Trigger absolutely loves and does it time and time again. I mean, yeah, I don't blame him. Last game he looked pretty good in the macro setup. Probably just wants to get Colossus out as quickly as possible. The 2 Reapers are gonna get, I think, at least 1 probe, and that will actually be it. We've got a medevac with not 2, but 3 Widow Mines this time around, heading to the other side of the map. Good job there by BattleB, by the way. Changing the course a little bit so he didn't give Drogo the heads up that it's coming. Stalkers are out of position. Blink is nowhere near done. Widow Mines are going to burrow. And it just takes a while to clean this up if you're Drogo. He might kill 1 though. Yeah, he is going to kill 1.
That's actually some really nice target fire right there on the Unburrow, understanding that that's what BattleB wants to do and just pulls all the Stalkers forward. BattleB's going to get out with 1 Widow Mine, maybe trying to find damage on the 3rd, or just really just keep this medevac here, force some of Drogo's units to sit in the natural. And maybe that unlocks a push later on. I don't know. Depends on what Drogo or BattleB wants to do, but at least he does have that. He's still got one bullet in the chamber. Yeah, a couple have fired and not found much, but Roddy, one thing we've learned from PvT for years now, sometimes it's just one Widowmine. That's all you need.
Yeah, and it just keeps the opponent distracted, right? Drogo sees that blue thing pop up, or red, whatever color he uses on the minimap for enemy units, and it forces them to keep a couple of units in place. So it is just super important to keep it alive. Even if that Widowmine does not kill a single probe for the rest of the game, it is just nice that BattleB was able to keep it alive prior. I do think, looking back at how that drop played out, I think he should have never unburrowed the mines. Not just because he lost one, and that's a very easy observation for anyone to make, but it was very annoying for Drogo to clean it up when he doesn't have Blink. Do you send like one probe at a time? But then you have to worry about the other Widow mines, right? As this Raven is now going to take a bunch of shots from these Stalkers. It will not die, but definitely good job by Drogo. Like, I think it would have lingered on for way longer if all those 3 mines were together. BattleB has moved the medevac. Can it make it into a safe spot? Yes. Whew, close call.
I don't know that was worth it. That was a lot of damage this medevac took, so it's a lot easier for Drogo to defend this. He doesn't even have to worry about, say, the Widowmine popping out. You just keep a couple Stalkers here. It's, what is that, 3 shots? Something like that? 4 shots from death? It's not even that, because bonus damage to mech units. The Stalkers will kill that very fast, and it's just a little bit less scary now. Now, that being said, BattleB, he's pushing forward onto this third base, and maybe this might be the opportunity. He's got the Raven at the front. Although, Roddy, with the time it took between that Raven taking damage and this push, I would have loved to see BattleB just send the Raven home, repair it up, because right now, this Raven's pretty snipeable.
Drop a mule.
Do it.
No joke. No joking. All right, we can still maybe make some magic happen. Anti-armor missile goes down, connects with every single unit there. But as long as that battery overcharge is active, I don't think BattleB can really do it. I think he knows it as well, so he is just going to wait until battery overcharge expires. Widowmine dropping the main base, gets picked off. Widowmine gets picked up as well. Good job there by Drogo, not pulling those units out of position. Still not enough to addict. After all these years, even while getting older, impressive Drogo.
Well, you know what, Roddy? That's just the trick. You unbind it, and then you can't get addicted to it. That's easy. But now Stalkers get on top of the tank. Really nice move there. Widowmines, though, big shots there on the Stalkers. And now, BattleB, can you take the fight? Well, there's no anti-armor missile. That force field, Roddy, it's so good. The Raven falls here as well. Excellent fight there from Drogo. Now he's going to want to back up. The reinforcements are there.
Natural. We have a Widowmine in the mix. That Widowmine could get a big shot up, but Drogo pulls away the probes as well. And in the end, it settles for a Zellum. And Drogo is just kind of everywhere he needs to be. I am very impressed. Yes, there was a big Widowmine shot on those 3 Stalkers, but in the end, Drogo did kill the Raven, so he doesn't have to worry about that anymore. He keeps the 3 bases alive. He's got extended thermal lens now. It is just very good. Solid Protoss play coming out of Drogo. And BattleB, I don't want to use desperate terms like he's getting desperate right now or he's feeling it, but at one point, if you're 9 minutes into game 2 and you're down 0-1 and your attacks are not really working out, your forms of harassment are not finding what you're looking for, you start definitely getting a little bit concerned. He's down a couple workers, does not have a quick 4th base, doesn't have a ghostic enemy, doesn't have the 2nd starport. It's tough right now for BattleB to take good fights.
It really is, although the speed zone, it's actually just going to give him more. It's going to donate a couple Marines that much faster into the waiting arms of the Colossus. The one thing we can talk about, and of course Chrono and all the various buffs that upgrades have gotten, ameliorate a lot of this, but, you know, Drogo, his forges were a little bit slower than the eBays of BattleB, so BattleB's got +1. It's going to take a little bit longer for 1-1 to be done for Drogo, but he's got his 4th base on the way. Warp Prism getting halfway done, really, at this point, 3/4 of the way done. Drogo is starting to build an army as he builds an Archon as well, where it's becoming pretty obvious that he wants to run across the map here. And what does BattleB have in defense? We have 2 Vikings. He's on single starport Viking. He's not going to really have the Viking count he needs to defend this. If Drogo hits in the next, I don't know, 30, 45 seconds, something like that.
Look at the minimap, by the way, and all the little bits and pieces of vision that Drogo has gathered for himself. I absolutely love it. A Zello here, a Zello there, a couple Pyrans, army in the center. He's done such a good job in making it almost impossible for BattleB to sneak something big to the other side of the map without him being aware of it. Plenty of units still defending the main base as well, so if BattleB picks up these units, he's in trouble, right, with it army in the top side of the map. Drogo's coming in from the left. BattleB is not expecting this, but he splits up on Marine. Now he gets the heads up. Can he pick up these units and get out of harm's way? He picks up most of them, leaves a couple of Marauders behind, but you cannot unload in the main, so that's a lot of supply that's now just tied up in the top side of the map. And BattleB truly needs to get something going for himself. Maybe at the bottom, recall would be available, and I wouldn't hate a recall here for Drogo.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. You can absolutely keep this base alive if you do so, but he's just going to steam across. And I think at that point, this base is dead. Maybe Benoi's going to target probes down, so that buys time for Drogo to survive, to get on top of this base. But no, the base is going to die anyway. Stalker's Bling on top of the Medivacs, trying to remove any sort of retreating path. But, you know, that move on the north side wasn't great for BattleB, but knocking this fourth base down, it's nice. That being said, we're already a lot of this army is about to go down. And now BattleB, with that force on the north side, how does he defend?
Well, we'll see. Here's his bunker, a couple of Widow Mines, couple of Ghosts here. Drogo still has a big army standing in his natural. A lot of these units were defending the main for a while, but Drogo has moved into the natural, and that's where he needs them the most. Yeah, I really think a simple recall would have actually saved that base, but I don't know. Maybe Drogo thought he was going to be there in time. So that was a good move for BattleB. Honestly, something he absolutely needed, because very few things were going his way. If we take a look at the army comps right now, 6 Vikings against 3 Colossus. Fantastic, but he's getting a few more. The 4 Ghosts have serious potential, but they need to land big old EMPs here.
Yeah, they do, but I mean, the Stalkers are clumped up right now. That's a lot of splash damage going down, but none of the Vikings make any contact, and the 3 Colossus, Roddy, they're still here. Medivacs, they're not doing anything. They're just going to die, maybe. They're not even going to get targeted down at the moment. The Vikings still fall, and this army of Drogo, there's nothing for it.